Hello, beautiful cosmic family. Thank you for tuning in into this new podcast episode. If this is your first time, I'm welcoming you from the bottom of my heart. I am so happy that somehow the universe guided you to this platform where I share some personal experiences that have enabled me to grow as an individual and to become basically the best version of myself, the version that I want to reach in my life. And those are personal experiences of growth, depending on the things that I've experienced, the traumas that I've had in my life, the realizations that I've had in my life. There are so many things that I want to share with you, and I am truly honored and blessed to have this platform so that I can share those stories with you and get your feedback, hear about your own progress and personal stories. So without further ado, let's get into the topic of today. I've been sharing a little about this topic on Instagram, where I am mostly active. I really enjoy Instagram, especially for the creative aspect, and I enjoy sharing a lot of stories, mostly texts on there about different experiences that I made. And one that I shared this week, I think I named the post "Saying No to Stay True to Yourself Pays Off." And so I will come to that point in a couple of minutes during the podcast. Basically, experiences that I've had this week that showed me that if I just listen to my intuition and with a complete respect and politeness, if I was saying no to people in a loving and gentle way, I was actually getting a confirmation of the universe that it was like the right direction to go. It was a good thing to say no, because I was actually, by saying no, I was opening myself and allowing things to come into my life. Because by saying no, I of course closed some doors, but I opened doors that were actually leading me to a path that was resonating with who I am. So saying no is definitely something that we are not really taught to do, especially by our parents, or whether it's the family or friends or society in general. And I think that women in general have really a kind of pressure to always please people, to be this kind of perfect, gentle, nurturing model, like the very protecting, nurturing mother who says yes to everything and who is always there to do everything that one wants from her. And so when women actually start to say no, suddenly they are seen as those bitter persons, those bitter women who are disrespectful. And it's just such a shame that this was somehow ingrained in our minds, that saying no was a bad thing. And just because there is a big N in front of it, like at the start of the word negative, saying no is not automatically a negative thing. Saying no can be the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful act of love for yourselves and for others as well. Because it's simply an answer, like any other answer, but one that resonates with you. And when you say no, in order to not compromise yourself, that's just one of the most beautiful acts that you could do, to radiate to the world, to show the world how much you respect and love yourself. And of course, I think I grew up saying no, especially to my parents. They didn't really taught me to say no to others if something didn't feel right or anything. I guess my mom probably taught me that a little. But I was already, it was quite easy for me already growing up to say no, especially when, for example, when somehow my parents, I felt like they were not being fair to me, or if my dad was becoming maybe a little bit violent or something, I wasn't really scared to stand up for myself and to say no. And I was really daring. I didn't have that feeling. I didn't want to please my parents, really. I didn't want to always say yes and be that really perfect little girl that does everything that her parents said. I was more kind of a rebellious child. More when I was in my teenage years, definitely. When I was starting to become more independent and to kind of emancipate, and I was starting to discover the world. And so at the same time, I was discovering this power that I had to say no if it was the answer that was actually in alignment with myself. So I said a lot of no's to my parents, to my dad especially, I think. But of course, in most of society, it's not taught. We are not raised by our parents and taught that we could always say no when it feels like it's the right thing to say for us. We're more encouraged to stay polite, to say yes, to please others, to do someone a favor, even though we don't really feel like we want to engage and invest our time or energy in doing something for someone else. So we grow up having really a kind of blockage in us. And so we tend to actually make ourselves smaller and to really be like this little person that makes himself or herself small so that we can serve others and be at their disposal at any time, anywhere, and to just always say yes. And it's just so really terrible, especially for children, that we are not clearly told by our parents that it's okay to say no. And so when we grow up, we actually feel even uncomfortable when the time comes to say no. When we say no, we have the feeling that somehow we have to justify ourselves, that we owe someone an apology for saying no. And probably you have noticed this as well, and that's something that I'm working on myself. Very often, the no is followed by a sorry. So you actually say no, which is a powerful word, and when you say it, it's almost like we can feel that the person knows what she or he wants or they want, and that they are really firm into their answer and that they know what they want. But then automatically comes this sorry, which just like kind of what's the word? Yeah, it just tosses everything into the trash, like suddenly. Like you sounded really quite confident, affirmed in your answer, and then comes this sorry that like completely destabilizes this whole foundation that you had built by saying no. So why do we actually have to apologize for saying no? If the answer feels so right in our guts, if we feel that deep calling that intuition that it's better for ourselves and for our energy and for our protection and just for our own sake, if it feels good to say no, you shouldn't be apologizing for saying your truth, for speaking your truth. And that's something, I could make a whole podcast about the topic of expressing your truth and not apologizing for it. But it's part of it. Saying no is definitely an aspect of expressing your truth, because expressing your truth doesn't have always to be something beautiful and magical and really light. And it's also about saying no and not only saying yes. So yeah, I definitely want to share more experiences that I've had experienced this week by saying no. So basically what happened is when I started working independently last year, end of July, I actually found quite quickly some tutoring companies that give tutoring classes in languages, English and French. As far as I'm concerned, so I was giving classes in English and French. I found those companies quite quickly, and I was working mainly with two. And I was also working with one person individually. So I basically work in collaboration with companies, but still as a freelancer. And at the same time, I have my own students that basically contacted me through a platform like Superprof in Germany. And so I was working for quite a long time with one organization that gives a different kinds of classes, like hundreds of different topics of different subjects, politics, yoga classes, meditation, everything. And I was working in collaboration with them and I was giving English, French classes. And I had planned, it was planned for last year as well as for this year, that I should be giving basically cooking language workshops. So I would be speaking in one language and giving a cooking workshop at the same time. And basically those two events, as well as maybe 10 other different classes that I was offered from this company to give, were canceled because of the current situation, which impacts all of us, like you probably made the experience of, the current experience that everybody is subjected to in this world with a big C. So I was supposed to get quite a good amount of money from this collaboration with this company. But at the end, from September 2020 until April or March of this year, in total, I only gave 2 classes. It was 2 courses that took place over 4 months or something, a bit over 4 months. And so I just only give those 2 courses, but I could have had 10 courses or something. I could have had from this organization, I could have gotten 10 other courses, and they were canceled. And so I was reflecting and asking myself, is this really worth it? Is it worth it for me to actually invest the time and the energy in preparing those courses and then like seeing them being canceled one at the time, and just having invested this energy and even the enjoyment and enthusiasm before the course started? Was it really worth it? Even though the amounts of money from those different contracts for those different courses, it was a good amount, but I really asked myself, and I really had to face myself and ask myself, do I really want to collaborate with a company where I invest time and energy to prepare classes and where I actually don't get anything in return? And at the end of the month, like anyone, I have to pay bills. And I'm kind of relying on those contracts. But the majority of my work is actually based on the students that I get through different platforms and who work individually with me. So I'm not really completely depending on those organizations that give tutoring classes. But so I asked myself, okay, I should have had over 12 courses in total, and I only got to teach 2 from them. And I know that this company is actually also suffering from the current situation, and it's not really their fault. They just have to adapt, and the people are just not showing up. The interest from those people is not showing up for those classes. So I just decided, I had already made the decision in my head that if the next course that is supposed to take place, it was supposed to start at the beginning of June, if they contact me saying that this is cancelled because there are not enough people interested who are not willing to do the course online, that if this happens again, I will just stop collaborating with those people, because I want to preserve myself. I want to keep investing my time and energy in things that actually are my passions, that I really literally vibrate and cannot wait to do. When I think about those activities, like creating, for example, a card set, I created a set of 17 really inspiring, positive cards that I am now selling on my Etsy shop. So I will link the link to my Etsy shop in the description box so that you can check that out and see if you resonate with it. But yeah, I much more value my time, and I'm really becoming more aware of my worth, of my potential. And when I invest time and energy in things that don't really end up anywhere, where I don't get any value back for the work and energy that I put in it, I don't see any interest for me to keep working for that purpose. So I made that decision, stopped collaborating with this company. Then there was one person that I was working with individually, and this person was paying me far too little. It was a too little amount of money in my eyes. I was also driving to that person for about 20 minutes. It was already kind of a hard collaboration because I was never really able to match with the energy of that person. It was a kind of person that was a bit hectic, lunatic, talking a lot and complaining a lot, always wanting to be right in any kind of conversation. And I could see, little by little, I could see that that person was always kind of like munching on my time, like always munching more time and energy from me. Although I had set some boundaries at the beginning and I had said clearly, those are the days I can work with you, but I will not block other days to work with you, because I already blocked those 3, was the Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. And then this person at some point came to me and was asking me if I could come to the place on other days. And I said no. And at the end of the month, I realized that actually the price that I was being paid was not even the price that it was actually not even my standard price that I estimate my work to be worth. So it was like about the half of my actual price for language classes. And so I realized, okay, is it really worth it? I am driving, so I'm taking the costs for, what's it called? For the oil, for the gas. I am investing with my own costs. I'm investing the time and energy, and I'm driving to this place and working in collaboration with a person that doesn't really resonate with me. I'm working with a person whose energy just doesn't match with me, doesn't feel good. It's not that I was scared to go there, but yeah, I didn't really want to engage in any conversation with that person because I just know that the energy there was just so low and quite violent at times. I just wanted to protect myself and my energy and invest my time in things that were bringing me joy. And I think that's one thing that you have to ask yourself. Are you saying yes because you want to please someone, but you're not getting any joy out of it? Or you're not feeling like your body is vibrating and like you don't feel butterflies in your belly? Like if you're not feeling like your body opens and vibrates, radiates at the idea of working with a person or at the idea of being in a relationship with someone, then please, at all costs, don't say yes just to please that one person. If you say no and it feels good to you and you can feel that your heart is telling you that this is the right way, then please just go for it. And so I stopped the collaboration with that one company. I stopped the collaboration with that one person. And what did I say no to? Yeah, I think that was like the two main things that I said no to. And basically what I did there was declining some quite good amounts of money. But in that particular situation, it was not even about the money. It was about the energy that was coming with it. It was about the whole package. And to me, I respected and loved myself enough to actually realize from like a pure awareness, I was seeing and feeling that the energy that was bound to those collaborations was not the one that was resonating with me. So I just said no. And on the next day, I go to give a class in French. And this one student, the parents of the student, at the end of the class just give me some non-negligible, like not a little amount of money, like just extra money for nothing, just because obviously I guess they were valuing my work and my energy and they felt good about me helping their child, and they just gave me extra money, and it felt so good to be rewarded and seen and acknowledged by those people. And to me it just really felt like a confirmation from the universe, or whatever you want to call it, from God, from the creative force, that I had made the right call. Saying no was closing doors and actually opening doors that were guiding me on the right path. And so it just felt so good on this next day. And so the day after I said no to those different collaborations, I actually become 3 new classes during that week, 3 classes that I could give on the days where I would have usually worked with that person I didn't resonate with. And I was getting the double amount of money. So to me, it was just like mind blowing that everything I was taught before, that saying no was a bad thing and it was impolite and disrespectful, and saying no will bring you into a mess and into bad situations. All of that was just like shoved in a hole. Like the myth was just completely destroyed, falling to pieces, because my experience just showed me completely the opposite. It showed me that actually saying no was bringing me more joy. I was feeling more fulfilled. The persons whom I actually said no to, they understood, they respected my choice. I was shown respect and compassion in a kind of way from those people, and I was getting more money for it at the same time. So, bingo, it was just a beautiful, everything falling into place basically. And I am so thankful for this. And I can definitely feel right now that I'm more called to do things on my own. And the point of this whole thing for me of saying no is to actually say yes to myself, to say yes to my potential, to say yes to my growth, to my own independence. My goal is actually to build a community, to build a feeling of trust and love and compassion within a community, and to work with people, to actually serve and help people in healing themselves, in dealing with that kind of topics, in dealing with that kind of situations that I had. I want to inspire people to say no to things so that they can say yes to more things, and so that they can say yes to the things that actually resonate with them. So that's what I want to do. And not collaborate with people or do something just because it makes someone else feel good. It's about my own life and my own growth and evolution. So it's okay to say no if it means, if I'm still respecting the other person and I'm respecting myself enough to say yes to myself and to opportunities that resonate with me. So I think it's one of the most beautiful experiences I've made this year. And what I can tell you as well is that I've been saying no and setting boundaries also in my own relationship to my boyfriend, and it's brought so much healing in our relationship as well, and it's triggered both of us, and it just kind of opened doors within our relationship. It's enabled growth for my boyfriend as well. Me saying no to him and telling him what are my priorities and what are my standards, like things that I know that I deserve, things that I know that I want for myself, that I want in a relationship because I value them. Saying that to my boyfriend also made it clear to him that I respect and love myself enough to say no to things and to set boundaries. So I really encourage you as well to do that within relationship, your own relationship, whether it's love relationship, friendships. I really encourage you to do that with people, to not be scared of saying no, and to actually show people that you trust yourself and you are confident enough and you're not fearing their reaction or them leaving your life, and you want to just stand up for yourself. And you will say no when you have to say no, when you feel like it's okay to say no, you will do it. And you'll say yes when it feels okay to say yes. And people, I can assure you, when you do that, and when you show that example to people, this is such a strong message, and it will definitely trigger people, but it will enable them as well to grow and evolve as people. It will make them reflect upon their own lifestyle, upon their own decisions that they've made. It will empower them to say no as well. So just be fierce, speak up your truth, say no, don't fear it, don't be afraid to do it. I can tell you that if you do it because it's in alignment with who you are, it will bring you so much beauty in your life and so much grace. So I think that will be it for today. I am so thankful to be able to share this with you, and all the different episodes that I'm able to share with you on this platform. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. Don't hesitate to check out my Etsy shop. I will definitely make sure to link the link in the description box. And I so cannot wait for any of your feedback, any of your reviews on Apple Podcast or wherever. If you just want to have a chit chat with me on Instagram, I will be delighted to hear your story. And I wish you a magical rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.